think like not to you can't talk about Drummond without talking about Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin is a more interesting thing, right? Because if he comes to the Nets, it would be hilarious if all of a sudden he just like breaks out of his sweatsuit, runs in, and then starts dunking on everyone.
The first game he plays 20 minutes, he will get a dunk in.
You think he was faking?
No, I just think he's completely uninterested.
Right.
I think he is older. He's not the same player.
Because he's actually younger than our guys. Like he's
right.
he's the only person that he's older than is Kyrie.
I think though
he's 31, by the way.
Originally I said I would rather wait, see what else the market bears, but then when you realize, A, players may not become available, and B, they still have another spot, another exception.
Right.
And or a Dinwiddie trade. It's like, why not? There's just no downside to this.
We just sign everybody. Whoever we feel like. You come on the trade market. We're the Lakers right now.
I told my dad the other day, and I said, we're living in a world right now where Blake Griffin wants to sign with the Nets, and we're debating whether they should do it or not.
Right. It's not even a debate to me, though. It's like you sign him. He does things that your team doesn't really do. I'd love to see him just like have been sandbagging everyone, and just next thing you know, he's guarding
you could
LeBron.
You could play him with Green or Claxton, and you could play Claxton with Durant, and you only played DeAndre when you really need a true five.
All right, what's the upside? What's the upside of Griffin? Do you think? Like where do you plug him in?
I think you
not,
use him.
Not regular season. Playoff is starting, right? We've seen him. He's done well. Where do you play him?
I think there's an outside chance he winds up in our starting five.
I
think there's an outside shot. I mean, in terms of his ability to pass as a roller, so like the plays that Bruce Brown is getting where he's catching it unguarded, he can pass
dunker
there.
Spot guy, Bruce Brown.
He can pass there, and I think people are underestimating, his overall skill level. I think he'll obviously be motivated. You could put him on Giannis in a playoff series, and he's not going to give up ground. So
Giannis is not going to run him over.
No. You could put him on a Siakam a little bit. You could put him on in the lineup where, you play Milwaukee, he can guard Lopez, and he'll be able to keep him off the glass. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot you can do with him.
Let me give you a wild lineup.
Okay.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Check this out. Blake Griffin at 5.
Okay.
Nick Claxton at 4.
Right. Katie, Kyrie, and Harden.
Yes.
Yeah, why not?
Bam!
Why not?
Could you imagine that team running the floor?
Just why not? It's going to happen. I think he's going to sign with us.
No, I think it's a not so quietly kept conclusion.
Right.
I think everyone knows, because like what else is there to do right now? It's not like you're doing travel arrangements, thinking about he's out there. You want to come, Blake Griffin, and play with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and James Harden? You want James Harden to be throwing you passes so that you could walk into old man dunks and scrape the rim?
He's probably looking at a Nets box score and being like, is that the same fucking Bruce Brown that I played with? This guy's a fucking scrub. In his mind, Bruce Brown's a scrub.
Yeah. But he's playing in the dunker spot for us. He's playing 5 for the Nets. A legit 5. He has recorded in Basketball Reference appearances at 5.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I wonder what we wind up getting for Dinwiddie. I mean, this team in like 2-3 weeks might just be overkill.
Yo, let's talk Nick Claxton.
Okay.
I I don't like it when Nets fans, talk about him like he should be starting, because even though I want him to, he's not strong enough. That's my whole thing. I don't think he's physically mature enough to be depended on. And I don't even think he would do poorly. If anything, the last few games showed is that he's going to use his physicality to make points and make himself effective on the basketball court. He doesn't know what he's doing yet. He doesn't know the defense really, but he's available. He attacks the weak side. He gets blocks. He gets lobs. He gets dunks, and he could take his man off the dribble, which is
He's the best defender on the team.
Easily.
Yeah, it's not even close.
The reason why I want to see him and Durant together is because if you put that length of arms, they're disrupting everything that is happening on the basketball court, and both of them can guard 2 to 5. I've seen Nick Claxton guard 1. I haven't seen Durant guard a 1. It's to have that kind of length and skill, because he's also skilled. That's the other thing. Like, Jarrett Allen was a lobs and dunk center. That's what he does. He's a lobs and dunk center.
Jarrett just figured out in the bubble when he catches the ball off a roll that he can kick it out to a shooter. Claxton already sees that pass.
Right. When he was a kid, he was a guard. He was one of those dudes that had one of those KD growth spurts, one of those AD growth spurts. And he's still getting used to his basically 7-foot frame. He's 6'11". He's a legit 6'11", but he weighs 195 pounds.
Right.
Right? So while I temper my excitement and say, wow, we stepped in shit again and we've got a player for the future, I want to just be slow with him, because he doesn't have. That's why it looks like he gets hurt every game.
The question with Nick is he capable of helping us in a playoff series? In a regular season, when we're playing, Houston on a Tuesday night, he's going to do his thing. But when scouting reports and the intensity level rises and the attention to detail, the focus, can he play at that level? And I think that's why you get a Blake Griffin, because he can. He's not going to be afraid of a moment. He's not going to be overwhelmed, the physicality of it. I don't know if they'll put him in the playoff rotation this year.
If we played him, remember those games against Atlanta that we lost?
Yeah, right. We would have won.
They were close games. If we had a live body, a bouncy kid like that with length and arms to defend some of this young length, pause, that Atlanta has, I think that's a hell of an opportunity for the Nets to be not only just really good on offense, but to be really good on defense. That's having those two guys, and if you put in a Blake Griffin for a few minutes a night, wow,
it just gives us a lot of options to match up with our opponents, as they come in the playoffs. And those second half of the season is about one thing. It's about just getting everybody healthy and getting that one seed. Making sure we don't have to play both Philly and Milwaukee. Make our path to the finals as easy as possible.
And bigger than that is what it allows, even a Joe Harris to do. When Joe Harris comes into the game and one of those guys go out, or even Kyrie goes out, now he's playing enough minutes with James Harden, because that's the other thing that really frees James Harden is the space that Shamet and Harris give him.
Yeah.
Now, if you have defense on top of that, like we could be a really fun team that dominates and wins like 6-game series, a little 7-game series at the end, maybe make it interesting. But if Blake Griffin could play. If he was just bullshitting in Detroit, we could be a major problem, yo.
You think they get to 50?
I think so. You
That's
know
what
what? The only reason what would stop them is because they have so much. They just need to get now that they're gonna get KD back, right? And take your time, Kevin Durant. I'm not worried about you. But once they get Kevin Durant back, right? They could just rotate and always have two superstars on the floor,
right,
and just make it a joke. Because I literally was betting, if it wasn't for the fact that Kyrie didn't play that night, I'm positive that we'd be riding a win streak.
Yeah,
I bet them every night.
They mailed it in against Dallas. I think they were like, "Look, we won 8 in a row. Kyrie's out. Like, screw this." I don't think they were very motivated for that one.
No, they did the right thing because we know Kyrie gets hurt. It's good to protect Kyrie from himself. Give him the breaks, and then when Kevin comes back, you could play all three. You could play two, and
right.
I think we're a better team now than before, just from the fact that we have Nick Claxton and Roberson. I think this team is better with those two guys in the rotation.
Roberson is trash, and I don't even think he's going to be on the team in a week.
Oh no, he's he's out of here. But I just think Roberson is better in those positions of like playing power forward, defending.
I mean, you got to figure they're going to get something for Dinwiddie. So you add that player, you add Claxton, you add Griffin. These are guys they didn't have 3 weeks ago. That's some serious reinforcements.
So let's talk about the Dinwiddie thing. What is your threshold for a Dinwiddie trade? What do you have to get back? Give me a scenario.
I don't have to. I don't really look. I'm assuming if they're trading him, it's because they've had a conversation with him where he's not opting in. He's going to test free agency, and they've already decided we're not going to pay the tax on a guy that we just don't need anymore. So I'm not going to hold out for something. You just get the best possible package you can get.
I got to get Aaron Gordon for him.
Well, why would the Magic do that? They could just sign Dinwiddie outright as a free agent.
No, I think, first of all, I think they're capped out.
I mean,
I'd have to look at that. But they also don't want him being traded to someone else. This is a player they've wanted for a while. And you get him in, you help him rehab, and you make sure nobody else can get him.
If they walk away with Gordon, which I don't think is going to happen. I mean, they turned down 2 first-round picks for him. I don't think they're trading him for an injured free agent.
Probably not.
We don't need Aaron Gordon.
We don't even need him. You know what? We don't need Aaron Gordon. Not anymore.
Right. We don't need him. You get the best possible package you can get. Whoever it is going to be able to help.
It's got to be draft picks, right?
It could be draft picks. It could be a player that's maybe overpaid somewhere else on a 2-3 year deal. The teams want to shed the money. But for us, it makes sense. I mean, basically, we want to get Cabarrot out of our rotation. We want to get Tyler Johnson out of our rotation.
And I like both of them. Tyler, a lot more than TLC. Like TLC has reverted to being a G leaguer recently, but guys like that, guys like that are what they are. They're going to be up and down.
Well, right. If they were consistent, they wouldn't be backups.
Correct.
Right. Same thing with Shamet. If he shot 44% from 3, he'd be starting. He wouldn't have been available.
Exactly. He's playing well, but for me, I just you know what then you know what the idea is with Dinwiddie is it's you start to recoup some of these draft picks you lost. There's a lot of teams sitting on a lot of draft picks that would like to just get a guaranteed good player and like Dinwiddie.
Yeah, look, you expect that the Nets would tell his agent that he could talk to these teams maybe so they can gauge his